Witch's Ghost will always have a special place in my heart for multiple reasons. It's another incredibly entertaining Scooby-Doo movie with great voice acting and another really good subversion at the end. This one may have been a little more obvious than the one in Zombie Island, but that doesn't make it any less effective. I will never not love these cold opens, no matter how many times they do them, no matter how similar they are. Everyone posing as parts of the exhibits to catch the bad guys in the museum was a nice little touch. Of course, we get the ensuing chase scene with the classic music, which I will always enjoy. Although, Shaggy, I'm not sure about that long hair, my man. This opening is a little bit more unique, however, in that they end up getting help from who will be the main new character in this movie, Ben Ravencroft, voiced by the great Tim Curry. He is so good. He is a guy who has a clear love for Scooby-Doo and gives it his absolute all in this film. What a legend. But he's a writer and helps them catch the bad guys.
If it wasn't for this meddling writer.
I just thought that was super funny because it's always meddling kids. And then in this one, he hesitates for a few seconds and then says, writer. Great subversion there. They do a really good job of making him seem like such a nice guy at first, although after Zombie Island, I imagine a lot of people were a bit more weary of that trope here. And he's kind of the person who sets the whole plot into motion. He invites the gang to his hometown of Oak Haven, Massachusetts for vacation, and things seem so nice. Kind of just like the beginning of Zombie Island. They're surprised by how packed it is. Everyone's there for a festival featuring the Hex Girls. More on them later. But it genuinely seems like a fun, quaint little town. Though Ben doesn't seem to be too happy that there are so many people there. Setting up the backstory of Sarah Ravencroft was very important to this film. All the people in town say she was a witch. But Ben defends her, saying that was just a rumor. She was actually a healer, a Wiccan. And he seems like a cynic at first regarding the haunting. People keep talking about it. He keeps downplaying it. But he's also constantly in search for Sarah Ravencroft's book, which he claims is just a diary. Again, great foreshadowing, setting all of these pieces up in ways that might not seem super obvious at first, but on rewatch, they definitely are. Of course, Scooby and Shaggy eat more absurd amounts of food. I've always thought it was super funny when they just get insanely huge from all of that food in one sitting and they can barely walk out of the restaurant, but then a couple scenes later, they're just back to normal. I will never not laugh at that. There is admittedly an element to this movie that has always and will always cloud my judgment, and I cannot help it. That would be the Hex Girls.
Hit it, sisters!
Be still, my heart. Thorn is the love of my life. My first crush ever when I was watching this as a little kid. If you want to know what my type is, Thorn. I mean, voiced by the incredible Jennifer Hale, another Cartoon Network legend. That is a bias that I will never be able to get over. I also think the movie did a good job of setting them up to be potential suspects or maybe even potentially real witches. They seem kind of scary and mysterious at first, which just makes me like them even more. And you're skeptical for a while, but by the end, they actually end up becoming super cool, and Thorn saves the day. More on that later. The mayor was also set up well as a potential suspect, and I really enjoy the scene where they all go in different directions and follow these different characters to see if they do anything suspicious. The actual reveal, however, is fairly underwhelming, except for the t-shirt guy being Thorn's dad, or Sally's dad, which that, honestly, is the biggest twist of the movie, Thorn's real name being Sally. There's no way anybody saw that coming. But there were multiple people involved, and we barely know any of them besides the mayor. However, I don't think that was actually very important to the movie. It was really just the prelude to the real reveal, and you can't help but feel for them. I mean, They definitely went a little bit too far, but they didn't really hurt anyone, and they were just trying to drum up excitement for the town and the festival. And I thought the fake witch was pretty creepy in and of itself. Although the gang was onto the scent right away, they could tell that the branches were ripped off the trees in a perfectly straight line. They knew something was up. So at this point, as a viewer, you're like, really? That's it? They're just a bunch of people in the town that pretended to be a witch to drum up excitement? That's literally all this movie is? There's got to be more, right? Something this film does that Zombie Island doesn't is that it gives you a reveal and that it was all just people working together. There's no real ghost. And then it turns that on its head and you get the real reveal, the true villain of the movie. The first thing we find out is the fact that Sarah's grave was accidentally dug up. Whoops. So they go to check it out, and the complete turn in Ben's demeanor is incredible, and Curry plays that shift in tone so well. The moment he finds the book, just completely turns into a different person, an evil man, and we see his true nature. Of course, Sarah was actually a witch. Ben wants to revive her, and he was searching for her spell book. Not super mind-blowing, at least not super surprising, but still very effective, again, mostly because of the way that Tim Curry played it. Another great reveal is the fact that Ben actually paid off the bad guys in the beginning so that he could orchestrate this meetup and set everything into motion as far as what happens in the main plot. I thought that was really cool. And this is the first time that I'm aware of that the cold open actually played into the main plot. And since Ben is Sarah's descendant, he also has powers. He is a warlock. Of course, he's not nearly as powerful as Sarah, and by the time that he revives her, she is super creepy, by the way. They did a really good job with that. Feels very old-timey with her voice and the way that she talks.
Modern? Not much seems to have changed.
But she has an entirely different vision for the world than Ben. He wants to rule the world together. She wants to destroy it and feels no gratitude or debt to him whatsoever. So this backfired massively on Ben. More regarding this third act, I just want to say that the evil pumpkins and especially the giant turkey always creeped the hell out of me. I mean, the idea of a huge birds are already scary despite how small they are, but a giant one, oh, forget it. Game over. I'm out of there. I also love the fact that Shaggy tried to pour water on Sarah Ravencroft, which was kind of a reference to The Wizard of Oz. And he's like it worked in the movie. That was really funny. I alluded to this before, but my girl Thorne saves the day. How awesome is that? It's revealed that she is actually part Wiccan, and how lucky are they that that was the case, because otherwise they would have been totally SOL. They would have all died right then and there. Speaking of dying, Ben quite literally dies. I mean, they don't actually show him getting killed, but he essentially gets sucked into the afterlife. Sarah drags him into the afterlife with her because she won't go in alone. So he is dead. For all intents and purposes, they killed a human living character in Scooby-Doo. It ends with a Hex Girls concert, which is just perfect. I mean, I already talked about how great the soundtrack was in Zombie Island. This one, because of the Hex Girls, is even better. Certainly more memorable. Also, the giant turkey is nice now and dancing with everyone. I thought that was pretty fun. Overall, The Witch's Ghost is definitely a step down from Zombie Island. It's not as consistently atmospheric, nor does it do the mystery aspect as well. However, I do still really like it. Of course, I have a huge crush on Thorne from the Hex Girls, but it is also quite creepy at times. I think that the cast all does a great job once again. They bring in Tim Curry to the mix, who is an absolute powerhouse, and like Zombie Island, it's just so memorable and endlessly rewatchable.